Hi guys, welcome to this month's Q&A video. It's where I take the previous, in this case, 6 videos and try to answer your questions the best I can. My niece had actually gotten these questions together, so haven't even had a chance to look at them, but I'll do my best. As I'm filming this, we're on vacation. You can probably see by my background I'm not at home. By the time this is published, we'll probably be at home again. We are getting to spend 2 weeks in Hawaii. Never dreamed that we would ever do this, but this year everything kind of worked out for us to take this trip, and we've had so much fun. The first week we spent on Maui, and our second week here we're spending on Oahu. It's really neat how we are getting to experience a couple of different sides of Hawaii. Last week, spending time in Maui, it's more, we were more in the country. We actually had a whole acre to ourselves. We're staying at a beautiful house, and this house we're staying in on Oahu is beautiful too, but it's in the city, so we're definitely seeing both sides of Hawaii. My favorite part, of course, is just experiencing the nature side of things. We've done some awesome hikes, and then of course the beach. The water is just beautiful, and the rocks. And then our hiking, it's like we're in a tropical forest. Birds are singing. As always, when I experience new things like this, I'm just blown away how God just made everything beautiful and colorful, and all the birds with their different songs. He could have just made everything kind of the same or black and white. We probably wouldn't know the difference, but he chose to make it beautiful for us to enjoy. It's so amazing. So getting to the Q&A, the first video is the last month's Q&A video. The first question here is Butterfly Cottage saying, I love your table that your computer is on. Did you DIY it or did you find it somewhere? It was actually given to me by a furniture store. They didn't want it anymore, brand new. I ended up painting it white and then putting the newspaper print wallpaper on the top, which I use that a lot in my projects. I'm sure you've seen it before. It is available on my Etsy shop in case you're looking for something like that. Jennifer says, I love your channel and was wondering if you have favorite YouTube channels that you follow for inspiration. I don't watch a lot on YouTube. I probably should, being that I have my own channel, but I just don't take the time, or I don't have the time. And if I do, I usually watch something that I can actually learn from, like maybe I'm looking for a new thing with something with my camera or my YouTube channel, and that's kind of how I learn, is just by watching others. And Think Media is a great channel for that if you're looking for something along that line. And the channel I watch most for inspiration is Garden Answer. I know I've talked about them before, but make sure to check them out if you haven't, but they have an amazing gardening channel. Jack Benny says, whatever became of your furniture designing business? I only saw one video of a cabinet that you designed. Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. I went on this spree, I guess you could call it, on designing some furniture pieces. And I ended up doing about 4 pieces, I'm not sure. I think I had featured 3 of them at least in that video. And I got a local furniture company to, make them for me, the pieces. Turned out beautifully, but I soon discovered that there's a loud chopper flying overhead here. I'll pause a moment. I soon discovered that I feel like the people that like that sort of furniture, like they like that look, like people like me and probably a lot of you, are probably not going to want to spend that much on a piece of furniture. It wasn't that, the furniture company wasn't charging too much or anything. It was a high quality made furniture, maybe just not willing to spend the money on something that can be bought at a thrift store and maybe turned into the look that we want, if that makes sense. It's something that I would still consider doing someday if I'd find maybe a cheaper way of getting it made, but still a good quality piece of furniture. I'm not sure is that possible. I guess you just get what you pay for. Monica says, do you have a recipe for your SUET? Yes, I do have a recipe, and if I forget to share it in the description box underneath this video, you can find it a few videos back. It's on the handmade, homemade video I had done. They're in the description box. If you drop that down, the recipe is in there, but I'll try to remember to put it underneath this video. The next questions are from the summer mantle video. Sunshine Softly says, sweet, also learned something, oceans wide with hope. All my life I have been singing oceans white with foam. Yeah, we did change the words a bit for that sign. Kathleen Clark says, I love your channel so much, thank you. I was wondering why shipping on your products is so expensive. I had your candles in my cart, but I didn't want to spend $20 for shipping. Was that a mistake? I don't blame you for not wanting to spend $20. I probably wouldn't either. I just feel so bad how expensive shipping is. Now, most of the time Etsy does a good job of calculating it, but if they do end up charging you more, we do reimburse. I don't want to take more of your money, but it could be, especially if you live, out west. California especially is really pricey. It probably was correct, the $20. But again, if we see that Etsy way overcharged you, or they didn't combine shipping if you got, more than one product, we do reimburse, because I just feel so bad how expensive it is. But usually they're right, like it actually costs that much. It's just shipping has really gone up. Since I've had the Etsy shop, it's really, the prices have really gone up. S. Howard says, just wondering why you paint on your distressing instead of sanding the item. I have done sanding too, maybe not recently in the video, but often if you sand, you just have to take whatever is underneath. Sometimes some of the pieces, trying to think what I distressed, I think it was that headboard that was just a tint of orangish colored. And if you end up, sanding those edges, it'll bring that orange out. So often it just, to me, looks better to use a marker and just distress it, kind of fake distress it, I guess. But if I have a nice dark base, like a nice dark wood to start out with, paint over that, I will usually end up just sanding the edges because I like, that color coming out. Heather is saying, can I ask why I don't see you using the Wagner paint sprayer anymore? The main reason I don't use that a lot is it's so heavy. I actually get tired when I'm using it. I guess I'm thinking of the time when I painted my basement rafters, and I held it above my head, most of the time. I just remember how stiff and sore my shoulders got after that, but it was worth it. I love my white rafters. So I'm sure, holding it down, waist high or whatever would be a lot easier. I would still use it if I were to paint something on the outside, like a big project, maybe a board fence, or last summer we had used it down on the pavilion by the pond. It worked great for that. But if I just want to paint a piece of furniture, I'll just go to my air sprayer. But a lot of the reason for that is, I've mentioned this before, but I have such a handy air system set up. My dad had actually set it up for me, a big, air tank with an air compressor. If I wouldn't have all of that, I probably would end up using the Wagner more often. So maybe for those of you that don't have an air system, I'd still recommend, the Wagner, especially if it's just a small project. You won't get, that tired from just one piece of furniture. But again, for me, that little air sprayer is just something I can hold in one hand, and it's just so easy to use. I'm more used to it. There's someone doing some weed whacking over here. Hope you guys can't hear that too much. Elaine says, beautiful. Did you change the words to God Bless America intentionally? Yeah, again, that sign hanging above the mantle, all of those words were changed around from the original song. We had actually found a version online where somebody else did that. We kind of liked the sound of it, so that's why I chose to go with that. So the next video is the product line video. And again, I hope you guys can hear with all the weed eating that is going on right now. I just have a little time frame here to film this morning, so I almost have to keep filming, but I feel bad that if you hear that weed eater, but hopefully it's not too bad. Kathy Ferguson says, are the Crocs food safe? I was thinking you could make pickles in the large crock. Definitely they are food safe. In fact, I'd say that's why they were created, is for food. I guess I didn't really show that in my video, but I probably should have talked about it. But I know a lot of people do like fermenting, or they make wine with Crocs like that. Deb H says, I looked at the peddler's website and it seems the range will be online from the 11th of June and not July as it said in the video. That's right, I had mistakenly put July 12th, I think, on the video when the product would be available, and it was supposed to be June, so sorry about that. The product is available up and running on the peddler's website, so make sure to check that out if you're at all interested in any of the new products, and I'll link it down below in the description box. Brenda Bradley says, will your new products be available on your Etsy shop? I had initially thought I would probably have them on my Etsy shop, but then I changed my mind. I thought, will I end up hiring another person to help with shipping? And the peddler was willing to just do all of the shipping themselves since they have the product there in their store. It's just easy for them to ship it out from there. So that's kind of why I chose to go that route, and they have amazing customer service and they ship out fast. They're a safe website to order from, so don't worry about that. Finally, the weed eaters have stopped. Hopefully it'll stay that way. The bottom comment from that video is, I used to like this channel, now it is just one big infomercial. Oh guys, that's probably one of my worst fears, is to be labeled as that, but I'm sure it does probably seem that way to some people, but I don't mean it to be that way. I love to create things and products to kind of cozy up someone's home, or just even provide inspiration to maybe come up with your own then if you see it. That was probably one of my fears when I started the new product line. I thought, is that what people are going to say then? But then I thought, I prayed about it and I thought, I'm not going to worry about that. You can always let negativity get you down. And I thought, when I started this, I'm not going to do that. As long as I know where I stand, I'm not going to worry about what other people think. So the next questions are from the cabinet, the antique cabinet I had redone video. Wanda says, love the finished look. I was wondering if you've ever done a video showing your cleanup process of your paint sprayer. As always, never miss your videos. Thank you, I appreciate that. I'm not sure have I ever really showed the cleanup process of my paint sprayer. I probably should do that because it's pretty important. I may have showed it once before now that I think about it, but it's really important to just keep running water through there, get all of that paint out so that next time when you want to paint, it's not clogged. Trust me, that has happened in the past for me. It's worth it to spend, I always say sometimes I spend as much time cleaning it as actually using it, especially if I have one piece of furniture to paint. But it's worth it. I love my sprayer. But yeah, sometime I'll have to show the process. Mandy says, I love the cabinet and the lace panels. Beautiful. Thank you. Do you ever have issues with bleed through when painting a darker stained cabinet white? Yes, I do, depending on what wood or what stain was previously put on the cabinet. And often, as I'm painting, I think I had a little bit of that issue with this cabinet, but it wasn't too bad. If it gets really bad, I'll use the, I believe the Zinsser brand stain blocker. It's a shellac. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's instead of a water or an oil base, it's actually shellac base, and that always takes care of it. I don't think I've ever had a stain that I wasn't able to block with that. And I'll try to throw a picture on the screen of the product in case you're not sure, what to use. But if you ever run into that, that does wonders. So if you do use that, make sure to not use your sprayer to apply it. I did try that once and I ruined my sprayer. Something with the air meeting up with the shellac based primer, it just created big clumps. Did not work. Peace Love Junk says, could you please let me know why you wax the paint? I've never done that before, but I'm interested. I don't always do that, but on this piece I did. I just love the feel of a piece of furniture after it's been waxed, and it really does a good job of protecting the paint. That's usually the reason I do it. It just provides such a nice, smooth, hard finish. Joyce Yoder says, can you use latex paint in the sprayer or only oil base? Looking for a good sprayer for latex. I use all latex. I don't use any oil-based paint. Now in the past I have, like years ago, before I realized you really don't need to use oil-based paint, I did run some through my sprayer. Definitely doable, but then you have to clean your sprayer with a paint thinner versus just running water through. I will link the sprayer that I use down below in the description box. I would definitely recommend that one. You can get it from Amazon. Sharon says, what do you do with the glass you pulled out? Dispose, reuse? Probably just dispose of it. I can't really think that I'd have use for it. It wasn't the nicest, clearest glass to begin with. I believe I just had that one piece to take out. I'm not sure what the previous owners had done with the other pieces, but I usually just set it aside, and then once I have a buildup of things like that, we just dispose of them. The next video is the handmade homemade video. Mandy says, how much laundry soap do you use per load of the homemade stuff? I realized after I published that video that I kind of forgot to put that in, but normally I just use maybe a 1/4 cup. If I have a really dirty load, I have a little scoop that I use. I'll put 2 scoops in, but just the regular laundry, I'll just use 1 scoop, which is probably about a 1/4 cup. Lisa says, do your cats ever get in your raised bed garden? Mine do, and I had to put a net over it so they wouldn't use it as a giant litter box. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. I haven't seen our cats in there. I feel like on our property they have so many places to go to do their stuff. I rarely see them do it. Not saying that they won't go in there ever, but so far so good. Rebecca says, can you tell me how many loads your laundry detergent makes and the cost of the ingredients compared to the store-bought? After I had finished that video, that was another thing that I forgot to do. I guess with all this vacation stuff and trying to pre-make videos, I just didn't get around to getting everything done, but that would have been really interesting to add the cost of that up. Maybe I'll still do it sometime and share it with you, but it is so much cheaper than the store-bought, and it just lasts forever. I would say that detergent will last us, maybe 3 months or more. The next question here is, I noticed you feed birds. Do you ever have a problem with rats or little critters? Not rats. The only critters we really have issues with, which I feel they're actually kind of cute, are the raccoons, but they can really be destructive. We actually have a coon family that, just every evening they'll make their rounds, walk over our decks, and it's almost like they're part of the family, I guess. But I don't have the heart to get rid of them, but I know we probably should somehow, either trap them, live trap them, and just relocate them or do something with them. I'm not sure, but we don't really have issues with we have squirrels on the feeders. I guess that's normal with living in the woods. So the bottom comment from that video is, I can't believe people queued to see you. What an odd world we live in. I couldn't agree more with you, but I really enjoyed every moment of it, gotta say. So the last questions are from the laundry room makeover video. Marie says, this is so fresh and clean now. I love the new sink. Where did you find the vinyl? I like it. We got that at Menards. I was really impressed with it too. In fact, we still have a bigger piece left over, and I was already thinking where I could use it, but not sure at this point. Debbie says, question, your heater, is it water, oil, steam? It is a hot water heater. She's talking about the radiator by the sink. Peter White says, do you think you will paint the ceiling too or close it in? I really noticed that too after the walls were white. I just thought, the ceiling should almost be painted too. I think I'd probably just paint the rafters like I did in the front room if I ever was to decide to paint them, but it's just a lot of work. And as far as closing it off, I think we'd have issues with some of the pipes or underneath the rafters. We'd have to get those up into there. Unless we decide to go that route someday, but for now we'll probably just leave it. So I'm hearing some weed eaters again, so evidently they weren't quite finished yet. Linda Daly says, just wondering, why wouldn't you put linoleum through the whole laundry area? It would really pack a punch. That is actually a really good idea. I gotta say, I didn't really think about that. It's probably one of those things that it's always just been the washroom, like I mentioned in the video, and it was always just cement. And with the drain in there, it's kind of handy sometimes if you actually want to scrub something or hose something down to have that, drain there, which it would still be there even if there was linoleum on the floor, but it would be something to consider. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.